Okay, so today we're going to create this frame part right here. And we're going to model it in Creo. So first thing I'm going to do, select my working directory. There we are. Okay, I'm going to start a new part. I'm going to save it as Ms1001-04, because that is the name of our project. And then I'm going to start to model here. So the frame is symmetric, is also a square shape, so I'm going to create an extrude. I'm going to create my sketch on my front plane. And then what I'll do is sort of create the shape of my frame here, keeping the plane in the middle. Let's do it the same height. Okay, I'm going to have my shape. And there's a couple different ways I can make this centered. Make a center line down the middle. And we'll put a symmetric constraint all over here. So top 2 points are symmetric. Those bottom 2 points should be symmetric because these are vertical lines. These two are symmetric. Right, and now I can just go through and put in the dimensions I need. So here's my width. And I'll wait to change these because they're way too big right now, so I'll just scale them all down at once. Once I put in the dimensions I think I need. And yeah, that would be good. Okay, so the easiest way to do that is I just middle click to pick this white arrow here, draw a big box around it, hold right click, go to modify, and now with my modify command I can lock my scale and change one of them to the right size. So this is going to be 3 inches wide. That happens to be the dimension at the top of my list, so I'll change that to 3, hit enter. Hit OK, and it'll zoom in, and now they're a little closer to what I was looking for. So the height of this is 3, the width of this guy right here is 1, and the height of this one here is, it looks like 1 as well. So I'll go ahead and hit OK. And then again, to keep my planes in the middle, I'm going to switch this to a symmetric constraint. I believe the width of this guy is about 3/8 of an inch. It's pretty good. And then I can hit my little checkbox, or I just middle click because it'll click it automatically. Alright, and then there's the beginning of my frame. Now from here, as you'll see, like this guy here, there's a little cutout in this section. So the easiest way to do that, create an extrude right on that middle plane. You can see I already have that line down the middle there, which makes it a little bit easier. Actually, what I should do first, hold right click, go to references, and I'll add the top and the back and this side as well. It looks like the cut is made on the front in this orientation. That's probably a good place to keep it. So I'll hit close. And now I can draw a nice little rectangle down here. Alright. And the dimension from there down to the bottom here is 1.875, 1 7/8. So now I can hit the checkbox. I can make it a cut, which it already did. And you notice, excuse me, because it's in the middle here, it's only cutting in one direction. No big deal. I'll hit options. I'll say, well, that direction is going to go through all. It's going to cut through everything forever. Very important to do that. So I don't want an extra dimension where I don't need it. And then I'll make it go through all in the other direction as well. And now, no matter how wide I ever make this thing, it'll just keep cutting across so I have that flat that I need. So I'll hit my checkbox. There's my cut. Now from here, I have a couple holes I need to put in. Well, more than a couple. So the first one I'll put in Put a little hole in the middle here. And the nice thing about having this plane in the middle is I can align it with this plane very easily. And we'll keep our dimensions from the bottom. Apologize for the bell, since we have such wonderfully loud bells here at school. So I can align this guy to the middle. And then from the bottom, the dimension here is 2.5. Now from here, I need to make a standard type of hole that has a countersink. So I'm going to pick the standard hole type up here. I'm going to turn on my countersink. I'm going to go to shape. Make sure all the size of my hole is correct. So this is a 0.18 diameter hole. I could also change that here. 0.18 diameter hole. It goes through forever. Very important I change it to that. I don't want it to have some weird dimension in here in case this part ever got wider. Plus it's just an extra thing for the part to calculate. My angle of this hole is going to be 90 degrees for the countersink. And the width, we're going to play around with this a little bit. I just need a little edge break here. We'll go with 0.21. Let's give it a little edge break. Alright. So now I've got that hole in. Then I have an additional hole that goes here. Actually, you know what? It would be better if I put it in down here first. So it goes from the bottom and also from the middle. So this is 1.5. Oop, wrong number. 1.125. This is 0.375. The hole is a 0.27 hole, and it goes through forever. Now what I can do is I can right click on that hole, I can pick pattern, I can click on this number, and I'm going to bring it right over to the other side, so I'm going to type negative 2.25. Put it over there. Now looking at my drawing here, I can see my frame actually looks like it's more 8.75. So I can either edit that definition by just double clicking on my initial feature, or I could have just went like this. Change it over there. So right click edit. Because I want those holes to be right in the middle. Alright, and then I'll put one more of these holes in. Actually, what I could have done, maybe I'll do it just to show, is what I could do is I could say, well, I'm going to go in a 1.125 increment 3 times. And then I'm going to go up 1.7 minus 0.375, which ends up being 1.325. Looks about right. And then what I'll do is I'll just turn off the ones I don't need. Click on the little black dots. Look at that, we have a hole up there. Alright, so now the other holes I need is I'm going to put a hole in the middle here. It's lined up with the middle and goes from the bottom. And these are at the same height as the last ones, 375. They go through forever, and they're aligned with the middle. And this one is 0.18. And then I have an additional hole. It goes up here, aligns again. And the nice thing is, I'm always going to want these holes to be in the middle, because that's kind of the point of this part, is that it's a symmetric part. Drop that down to 0.95. So even if this gets wider, these holes in the middle that I'm aligning are going to stay here. So this one as well goes through. This one's got a little thread on it appears. So I'm going to go to a threaded hole and make this a .1024 hole. Threads through. So I'll hit shape through thread, and then I'll hit the checkbox. I have a little threaded hole in the middle there. And the only other holes I have is I have a couple on the side, because this is a frame for an engine. It's a pneumatic engine. I need to be able to put the air in to an intake, and I need to have an exhaust that goes out the other side. I'm going to put this hole over here. Let me go from the bottom. This will be a 1.43. I'm going to move over from the front, and that one's going to be about halfway. So I could type in 0.375 divided by 2, or I could type in 0.1875. Either way works. So this one as well is going to be a threaded hole. It's going to be a 1024 hole. And the depth of it is going to be 0.19 according to my drawing. Looks like that's actually the depth of the thread, if I'm looking at this correctly. So I think I really want this to go about 0.375. And my thread needs to go 0.19. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to do the same exact thing on the other side. Threaded hole, 1024, 375. So I don't want these holes to hit into each other. And the depth is going to be 0.19. Good. Let's switch to wireframe. That should look pretty good. Yes, it does. So let's put our last two holes in. We need two holes. One of them's right about here. It's 1.43 from the bottom, so it lines up with the other ones. This time I'm going to measure from the middle and move it over 125. That's going to be a 0.18 hole. And with a depth of, let's try 0.1875. See how that looks. That looks like it'll break in just fine. But I want a regular hole so that I have a breakthrough with a nice drill tip. That looks good. Do the same on the other side. 0.43, 0.125 from the middle, 0.18, 75. That looks good too. And there we have our frame. The last thing I need, just a couple little rounds in the corners here. So I'm going to pick round, pick that corner, hold control, pick the other corner. So they're in the same set. 0.188 is the dimension I was given. And I am done with the part. So I can save it up. Alright, and that's how I make the frame.